Hey guys, this is Mommy of Two, Wife of One. As you can see, I'm joined by my mini-me today.
Hi.
Okay, they heard you, sweetie. You want to go play now?
No.
You don't want? Okay. Thank you guys for joining me for another week of just me talking about whatever's on my mind and on my spirit. Just want to thank you guys again for watching my videos, for reading my blog posts. It means a lot to me to know that the things I'm talking about you can either relate to or something that somebody you know can relate to. Okay. It means a lot to me and I really appreciate it. This week, had a little sad news. A very dear friend of mine, one of my brothers, his son's mother was in a car accident a few days ago, and unfortunately she didn't make it. And when I found out about it, and when a lot of my sisters found out about it, the first thing we thought about was her son. And she actually has two children, but the son that we know, the child that's we consider our nephew, he's only, I want to say 7 or 8 years old. So obviously that's old enough to remember your mom and old enough to miss her. And so we immediately thought about him, and obviously we thought about my brother. And even though he and his son's mother weren't on the best of terms, I know at one point they did love each other, and they loved each other enough to make this child. So I'm sure there are a lot of emotions, a lot of feeling in general, and I know that his main goal is being there for his son. But when I was talking to my sisters about the situation, most of us are moms, so that is the first thing we thought about was I can't believe that's horrible for her son that he has to live the rest of life without his mom. And we were thinking, well, it made me think about a video I did a while ago about having your affairs in order. And even though it's a very morbid topic and a lot of people don't want to talk about it because you don't want to imagine not being here for your spouse or not being here for your children, you don't want to have to go through the process of finding someone to take care of your kids when you leave and creating your will and your last testament. Nobody wants to do those things, but life is so short. You have absolutely no idea what's going to happen from day to day. We have no idea how long we're going to be on this earth, so it is important to have those things in order. I mean, obviously the number one thing before you leave this earth, and this is just speaking from someone who is a Christian, so if you're not a Christian, I understand you may feel differently, but the number one thing is that you have your stuff right with God, that you are saved, that you've repented your sins, that you are trying your best to live a life holy and pleasing to Him. And after that, you need to have your stuff in order and just make sure that when you leave, there's not a lot of confusion and everyone knows where your stuff should go and everyone knows, again, who should watch your children. And another thing my sisters and I talked about was just things that we're currently doing to make sure our children remember us. A lot of us have actually younger children. All of us have children under the age of 7 or 8. And, we're just thinking, like, if something happens to us, will our children remember us? And obviously they'll remember some things, but other things they may not remember, because as you get older, the memories kind of fade, and none of us really want that to happen. So one thing that I do, and actually some of my sisters do as well, I can't take it to the extreme because that's who I am. My former profession was as a reporter, and for the rest of my life, prayerfully, I'm going to be a writer, because that's just what I do. I write everything down, write to-do lists, grocery lists, I write stories, I've written a book, and these three things. These three things are my 3 journals, and I have 3 because they all serve a different purpose. This beautiful purple journal here, which is my absolute favorite color, this one is my travel journal. So whenever I go out of town, I take this with me and I make sure that I write an entry every single day so I don't forget where I went, I don't forget who I was with, and what I did and what I experienced. And then this one is just my normal journal of, what I'm experiencing that day, that week, that month, what's going on in my life, how the kids are doing, what's going on with my friends, just, regular journal. This one, however, is my mommy journal, and I actually started writing in this one when I was pregnant with my son. So I started it in 2008, I believe, and I just wrote things about how I'm feeling, as a pregnant person. I wrote down things that I'm discovering about myself. The purpose of me, I see, sweetie. The reason why I started this journal, I see, baby. The reason I started this journal is because I tend to have a very sketchy memory, especially of my own childhood, and just from week to week, my memory is not getting better. And so I write things down so that I can remember them. And I started my mommy journal because there's some things I wanted my son to know about me, as a mom and as a woman, that I may forget to tell him later on in life. And so I wanted to write those things down. And as he got older, and obviously as my daughter came along, I started writing about just different things that they've accomplished. Like, oh, Ladybug, today you were able to say your name. And, Pumpkin, today you were able to tie your shoe by yourself. And just people have baby books where they put this information down, but I have since given up on doing the baby book thing. I started it and I just don't even know where they are right now. So the journal kind of keeps everything in one place, and it's important for me and all the sisters that I talk to that our children know our voice and know our story and just kind of remember their mom and remember what mommy did for you. And I want to encourage you all, even if you don't consider yourself to be someone who is a journaler or a writer or whatever, I definitely encourage you to do something along those lines. Like a couple of my sisters make videos, and they're very private videos that they keep, somewhere for their children to find, either, when they're this age or when, they pass on. But something that children go back and look like, oh, that's right, that is my mom, and that's her voice, and that's what she looked like. And that's the voice I remember hearing when I was, being rocked to sleep, or, when I had a nightmare. Those are the arms that held me and comforted me. I knew of a person who also, when he first became a father, he created an email account for his child. I believe it was a son. He created an email account for his son as soon as the son was born, and every week he would send an email to that account. And he's the only one that has access to that account, obviously. But once his son gets older, he's going to give the information to his son, so his son can look back and look at all of these weekly emails that his dad sent him from the time he was born to the time he's whatever age. And I thought that was such a great idea. I think it is important that we do something like that. It's part of our legacy that we're leaving our kids. We're letting them know the type of person that we are. Because a lot of times with our children, whether we pass on when they're young or old or whatever, they only see one side of us. They only see mommy. They only see daddy. They don't necessarily see the woman. They don't necessarily see the man. And for me, it's important for my children to know who I am and who I was before I became a mom. So it's just something to put in your spirit if you guys feel inclined to do that. But it's also, again, a reminder to get your stuff in order. So if someone passes unexpectedly, whether it's you, whether it's your spouse, you need to have your stuff in order. You need to have that will. You need to figure out who's going to watch your kids when you pass away. You need to have that stuff in order. It's very, very important. And again, it's not a happy subject. It's not a sexy thing to talk about, but it is a necessary thing to talk about. So hopefully you guys got something out of this video. I love you guys so much. If you would like to send me any topic ideas or whatever, please send me a message at momof2wife1@gmail.com. That's mom of the number 2, wife of a Winnie at gmail.com. And I'll see you guys next week.